We built this society where we're told to go to a college, find someone we love, work a job for 50 years, and we're going to live happily ever after. But it doesn't happen. We don't necessarily feel that you guys actually set us up for success.
Can I have my millennials stand in the right pool of light and my baby boomers on the left pool of light? When it comes to jobs, you should do what you love.
I'm going to say, hell yes, do what you love.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't love it, you won't do a good job, then you quit and bring the company down, et cetera, et cetera.
I agree. I mean, I've tried to put myself in a position to stay away from things that I don't like. I hated going to school, so I left. And I cannot tell you how powerful that was. I'm the CEO and founder of Tenzo Tea. I went to UCLA, hated going to school, so I dropped out after 3 years and became an entrepreneur.
It just occurred to me, though, I wonder if maybe we're all fortunate enough that we can, because not everybody gets to just do what they love. Maybe circumstances don't allow that, depending, I'm just fortunate I was brought up in a family that allowed me to explore options and paid for me to go to college. And even though we all agree that you should do what you love.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and that went through my mind, but I think that it's important, at least for me, to say everyone should be able to do what they love and to have that be an expectation for everyone and not have it be an expectation, okay, well, if you have challenges in your life, then you'll never be able to do what you love.
We had a Japanese restaurant growing up, and I cooked tempura. Did my homework and took naps on the stacks of bags of rice that we had in the back. Did I love it? No, but we did it because it was part of survival. I did computer science and I was a programmer for 10 years before I decided to pursue what I really love, which was music. So, I don't agree with that statement. Do you love all the jobs?
And I'm sure it should be your goal to do what you love, don't you think? Like, whatever step, you might have to take steps to get to that.
Sure.
But that's what I worry about if we're going to talk about generational differences. I own a couple of businesses in Missouri, and I think sometimes the younger generation doesn't get that part, that to do what you love, sometimes you have to do some things you hate to get there.
Millennials don't work as hard as previous generations.
I live in southern Missouri, and I own a couple of businesses there. So I do think when I'm in LA, I notice a big difference. So I think part of it is a geographic thing. I live in a small town in the middle of nowhere where, people don't have role models necessarily that are to look up to that are as motivated. And it's also really easy to get free stuff, low-income housing, food stamps and disability, or they'll come to me and say, well, I can only work 25 hours a week because if I work more than that, I'm going to lose my low-income housing. Like I said, I think that's partly the society where I live makes it too easy not to work. I think a baby boomer is somebody who is taught to work hard, and that if you want something, you have to figure out how to go out and get it, and don't wait for somebody to hand it to you. If you try hard enough, you can get about anything you want. Oh! I wasn't talking about you guys.
So it all depends on who you know and who you run into. Around me, there's sure a lot of millennials that are working hard. And I hear stories about others who are lazy, but isn't that the truth in any generation?
Absolutely.
Facts.
I work with the younger generation all the time. And so I mean, they come in 24/7, they're working very, very hard. And I couldn't work without the younger generation. I wouldn't want to work without the younger generation.
I think millennials work harder than previous generations for less safety nets and less structural stability. And I think you see people who maybe they're not trying to go to work as hard because they know that if they try and they lose whatever assistance they have, or if they try to go to school and they get in debt and they can never pay it out, or know that they can never live in a place other than that low-income housing unit, then there's like a lack of agency maybe to try, but also so many forces. And then, you have all these companies that are trying to get leaner and deliver on short-term profits, so they hire people as contractors. Like all my friends are contractors. Like they don't have health insurance, they don't have any of these other things. And then so like they've got to work harder. So I guess when I hear that about millennials, it makes me upset just because I know how hard my friends are working.
I think the word millennial is often used to portray a small slice of millennials. I don't quite fit some of those stereotypes, but I don't think there's a single stereotype either.
Young people today face harder challenges than any previous generation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually going to disagree.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, cool. Can't wait to hear that perspective.
I think the biggest challenge facing young people today is the environment, and that we're growing up in a world that is not being taken care of, and what that means for me and my children, if I have children, what type of world they're going to be living in, and I just think it's not something we're addressing at all.
I think the social media makes it, like I said, it can be a great tool, but I also think it can make life more difficult for people. Because you can get offended or bullied, or relationships can be totally different now because of, people break up with you over a text or whatever. And I think that adds benefits but challenges too that we didn't have.
As an adult, I find it hard compared to my mother and her generation when it comes to me trying to buy a house.
Sure.
When it comes to me trying to save money, because I'm one of those contracted workers. And I do want a family. And so do I continue doing what I love, or do I just go back into the old rat race and try to get ahead and try to do X, Y, Z? That's the pressure that I face on a day-to-day basis.
There used to be like companies that hired you for life, and you had pension, you had good,
and that's gone.
That's all gone.
Especially in the startup world.
Cost of living is so high, or if you live in a place where it's not high, then there are no jobs. I think it's harder for you guys.
It's good to hear all your points. I still think that we actually have it a lot easier, and I think the problem is that we expect too much. I don't think that we should deserve to assume that we're going to get to immediately be able to afford a house, and I think that we have a lot of things going for us, and I learned a lot of really valuable skills completely for free. You can join Facebook groups and meet other entrepreneurs. It doesn't cost any money. You can literally take classes at MIT and Harvard for free.
And classes online.
Yeah, and you guys didn't have that.
No.
The access to information wasn't there. I totally get the financial and environmental challenges, though I think that we have the resources to kind of solve them.
It's important to, want to, leave each generation better than we found it. Because if we lose sight of that, then, what are we working for?
My children will grow up in a better world than I did.
Shit, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because I'll make sure of that.
Yeah, I think.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
For me, I am determined when I do start my family that they will have a better life than what I've had. I'm going to make sure, as a father, as a provider, that has to happen, period, point blank.
I don't have children, but I'm speaking for children in general. Even though I first said life is harder for a younger generation, I think you're right. Healthcare is getting so much better, so much faster, and the internet has made so many more things possible that I do think that young people will grow up in an easier world overall than we did.
I definitely agree with the personal sentiment that we all share, but I do think that one of the things we didn't really get to talk about was that we don't necessarily feel that you guys actually set us up for success. Essentially, we built this society where we're told to go to a college, find someone we love, and go buy a house, and work a job for 50 years, and we're going to live happily ever after. But it doesn't happen. I just don't get how you guys assumed that we were going to be able to do that exact same thing.
No, we're all, I know I don't assume that, but what I do is that I put the work in. So when you put the work in and
maybe not you per se,
yeah,
but
not you guys,
but the larger mindset of the boomers is necessarily, you guys work like I did, you guys be okay. nah.
But I think the expectations are changing. Like everything you said about the house and the marriage, you know, I mean, in my generation, and that was my job as a female, was to catch a husband.
That's right. That's why we went to college.
Well,
that's why women went to college. That's why my dad sent me to college.
And I think your generation has so many more opportunities and a wider vision of what happiness can look like, and that it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to live in a house with a picket fence and you're going to have 2.2 kids, and that you're going to stay in the same job forever. I mean, I think you have so many more options available to you. Some of that has shifted for you, so I hope at least it has.
I think that's what I love about the younger generation now, is that they're working on themselves first, as opposed to falling in love and, you know, getting a guy that's going to be.
That's all well and good.
So I think
it's too late.
But I think what we're saying is we've been sold up a creek without a paddle.
Well, I'm a mom, so I'm looking at the future, and I feel for you guys, you know, who you're working hard, which is great, but everything is getting more expensive. Sure. The environment, yes, that is a concern. But one of the things that really concerns me is a national debt. And we're borrowing and borrowing from the future. We're kicking the can down the road, letting you guys and your kids and your grandkids take care of it. So I, on behalf of our generation, at least on that aspect of life, we're really sorry. We're leaving a big mess for you guys. And I just pray for you guys, pray for our children. So I am hopeful too. I'm optimistic for our kids, but I'm also well aware of some troubles that we're leaving our next generation. And I'm really
but I will tell you this, you will survive.
I don't want to survive, I want to
You will
thrive.
survive. You will survive.
You are thriving, I want to
You will
thrive.
survive. You can't be entitled to anything.
We're not entitled. We want what you got. We want the New Deal that Roosevelt set up for Social Security. We want that too. That's all we're saying. We want the basics of the American dream, period.
There you go.
All right, that's all the time we have.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a hug, 'cause I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hey guys, what's up? My name's Dan.
And I'm Jason.
And thank you so much for watching our episode. We'd love to know what you think in the comments.
Also, let us know in the comments below what other episodes you guys want to see from Middle Ground. We love hearing from you guys. Hit subscribe, watch more videos, and catch you next time.